Hello and welcome back to my channel and to my new series where I talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I recently completed the game and you can check that out in my playlist in the description. I am currently going back and playing the game on my own time to record gameplay footage. I just replayed Gongaga and decided to make this video. Please like and comment and subscribe as I will be covering more parts of the story, characters, and other topics regarding this game and the rest of the compilation. Not long after the party arrives in Gongaga, they hear noises coming from the broken down reactor. Cloud joins the party to talk to Cisne, who reports that they had been hearing it for days and were stopped by whispers when they attempted to enter the reactor. Assuming the noise to be coming from a weapon and the confirmation of whispers, Cloud, Barrett, Red 13, and Kate Sith rush to the reactor, leaving the woman in the party behind. They navigate through the dense jungle and debris from the reactor, traverse through the rundown reactor, and change the water levels to follow the whispers until they reach the core of the reactor and come face to face with Scarlet and Hojo's experiments. She is after the large materia within weapon, much like the optional Gongaga part of the OG. The party quickly dispatches Hojo's fiends until they are at the receiving end of Scarlet and her suit and the blast from her gun. We cut to Tifa and the girls, who, with Cisne's help, traverse via chocobo and grappling guns. They zoom through the reactor onto the roof where they fight Scarlet in her suit. After her defeat, Weapon leaps out of the water, revealing the large materia. Stunned, Scarlet starts going after it. Taking notice, the girls go after her, so she shoots down a pillar, separating Tifa from the rest of the group. Tifa keeps going, using the grappling gun to try to reach Scarlet before she could fish Weapon out with a crane. Right when she's about to reach her, Scarlet notices and knocks over the platform Tifa was on with the crane. As she is swinging on the grappling gun's cable, Cloud, worried etched all over his face, calls her name and goes after her. A small army of Shinra infantrymen stand in the way between him and Tifa, when his mind starts glitching again. Seeing Sephiroth and fighting against him for a second, he glitches again and his mannerisms completely change. He's holding his sword like it's the Masamune, then he springs into action like a dangerous predator, cutting through men with clean, swift, and precise slices. Then he rhythmically and subtly turns his head to dodge bullets with a smirk on his face. It's clear here that he's acting more like Sephiroth than Cloud. As she's still swinging on the cable, Tifa calls out to him, while the whispers surround Scarlet, forcing her to withdraw. Cloud continues executing the men even without looking at them. Finally, he pierces through the last defenseless man on the ground, blood splattering his cheeks while doing so, and acting completely apathetic. Tifa yells at him to stop, and for a second it seems like her words reach him until he glitches again. Tifa immediately runs over to his side to comfort him. Glitching, he hears Sephiroth talking in his ear, manipulating him to doubt her. This time claiming that she doesn't have her scar, and him echoing out loud what he's saying. She shows him the scar again in an attempt to help him see reality, but he quotes Sephiroth that Jenova will become anyone to fool him. He takes his sword and slowly approaches her while she fearfully backs away, distraughtly pleading with him, until the heels of her boots reach the edge and she has nowhere to go. He swings his blade towards her chest, but before it can connect, she slowly falls into the pool of Mako. As she falls, he glitches again and witnesses her falling into the pool. As she is descending deeper in the water, she struggles to breathe before she manages to surface. Barrett is seen on the other side, voice booming and encouraging her to swim over. Tifa desperately starts swimming, but when she's close to reaching them, Weapon majestically leaps out of the water, mouth open wide as it swallows her. Cutting to Cloud, we can see him slowly coming to and realizing that something terribly wrong has happened. Confused, he calls to her softly, then turns around, seeing the trail of bodies. Glitching, he grabs the side of his head, the scene coming in snapshots of her about to show him the scar, and then the image of her falling. Panting and eyes wide, he drops his weapon and stumbles to his knees. Gazing at the pool, he clenches his fists and screams her name in deep emotional pain. Back to Tifa. She hears a woman's voice calling to her, and then a male voice. She calls back to them. Mom? Dad? Then she hears the voices of her childhood friends while she follows the light green luminous threads in the sea of deep green. The camera cuts to Tifa's body curled up into a ball inside the large materia in weapon. She comes to and sees that white whispers are surrounding weapon. Suddenly, the black whispers show up, swirling around in chaos as they attack the white whispers. After a brief struggle, the white whispers manage to fend them off. When they continue on, Tifa realizes that she's in the Lifestream. That is when her childhood home comes into view, followed by the water tower and the bridge to Mount Nebel. When reliving the memory in her house, she sees her 8-year-old self and her group of boys as her younger self declares that she's going to find her mom who had just passed away. They agree to come with her. At a distance, young Cloud is there listening. One of the boys takes notice of him and wonders if he wants to come too. Tifa turns around and says his name, voice sounding surprised. When the group starts to leave, Tifa still turns around to look at him. At the water tower, she sees them making the promise. Finally, at the bridge to Mount Nebel, she sees that the other boys had left and it is Cloud who had stayed. Following her, he tells her that she needs to stop and they need to go back. Determined, young Tifa continues despite Cloud telling her that her mom is gone. Before leaving the area and her memories, Tifa from the present softly pleads, "Please, Cloud, I need you." Back in the open of the Lifestream, once again there's fighting happening amongst the two factions of whispers. Suddenly, the black ones start swirling around, creating a sphere. Weapon meets them head-on, and at the core of the sphere we see a recognizable purple light, and Sephiroth materializes staring at Tifa with his threatening and cat-like eyes. He gets into his stance, the Masamune long and threatening. With quick animal-like reflexes, he lunges, stabbing into the materia, and Tifa narrowly dodges the deadly blade. While Weapon roars, Tifa struggles for air. Sephiroth extracts his blade and powerfully slashes through Weapon's shoulder and cuts through its side, releasing some black whispers. As Tifa begins to black out, she hears Zangan's voice telling her to stay strong. Her world goes white and he comes into view. Dr. Sharon follows, telling her to get up and that she can't die here. Then Aerith appears, followed by Barret, encouraging her to come back. One by one, they all extend a hand to Tifa. Then her vision cuts to some recognizable boots and pants worn with use. The camera pans up to show Cloud from the back, following Sephiroth. Desperately, she calls out to him, but Sephiroth says, "Your words can't reach him now." As Cloud begins to fade in the distance, Tifa reaches a hand towards him, then yells, "Don't take him too!" After that, she falls back again. Back at the reactor, the party is anxiously holding their breath looking for Tifa. Cloud is sitting down so distraught that he doesn't seem responsive. Suddenly, bubbles rise to the surface before Weapon leaps into the air. The party runs back, Yuffie trips and is suddenly face to face with Weapon. Aerith notices Tifa inside of the large materia and calls to Barret. Before he leaves, he goes back to Cloud and gives him a well-deserved and needed slap to the cheek, telling him to get his shit together since Tifa needs him. The sound of her name is enough for him to get up. He slowly hobbles towards Weapon, and when he reaches it, it opens its mouth while white whispers orbit the area. In a flash of green light, Tifa materializes and slowly descends until Barret catches her. As Barret sets her down, Cloud goes over to her side. Then she starts coughing. Cloud, looking really concerned, calls her name. Slowly, she opens her eyes, and the image of Cloud begins to sharpen in her vision. Roaring, Weapon dives back into the pool. Tifa watches and wishes it luck before blacking out. Before going to the next scene, I'm going to break this one down because there's a lot of lore and emotional context breakdown. In the remake trilogy, Sephiroth is aware that he failed in the OG. This time, he has gone to Cloud and his friends to defeat the Guardians of Fate itself in order to change his fate and secure his victory. However, Tifa being in the party and the only one who knows the real Cloud is a huge threat to Sephiroth's master plan. So he's doing what he does best and is trying to manipulate Cloud and mess with his perceptions of reality. Let's go back to the beginning of the game after Cloud recounts his version of events of what happened during the Nibelheim incident. According to Tifa, he was never there, and the fact that he was gone for 5 years after the incident is really bothering her. She knocks on Cloud's door in calm in an attempt to confront him about this. Right before he joins her outside, Sephiroth appears to him, putting doubts to his mind about her being the real Tifa, because Cloud witnessed Sephiroth mortally wound her in the chest. When he confronts her outside, she shows her scar to prove it to him. Then he knows that she's the real Tifa. I will make another video breaking down the incident and this conversation, but this part is certainly relevant to this one. Later, when fiends are attacking Shinra 8 and fiends are fusing with the robes, Sephiroth comes again. This time he tells Cloud that Jenova becomes those you hate, those you fear, those you love. Here in Gongaga, Cloud almost says this verbatim. When the party arrives in North Corel and heads towards Gold Saucer, Tifa stops the party for a second to see Dr. Sheeran. She remembered that he was the one who had operated on her after the Nibelheim incident. Sephiroth appears to Cloud again to tell him to not be deceived by her, since he knows the truth. Notice that he keeps appearing to Cloud, trying to get him to doubt Tifa. He's not trying to get him to doubt Aerith or Barrett or anyone else in the party. It's because he knows that Tifa knows most of the truth about what happened in Nibelheim. She knows the real Cloud, and thus she holds the key to get the real Cloud back. Sephiroth knows that if she succeeds, his plan is fucked. So why not kill her himself? Well, Sephiroth was born with Jenova cells injected in utero. He has her abilities to use the robes and the Black Whispers to appear. He's also a master manipulator. This is a spoiler warning to those who haven't played the OG. Following the Nibelheim incident, Cloud was experimented on with Jenova cells by being put in a Mako chamber for 4 years, and was sort of a failed Sephiroth clone. Sephiroth is trying to get him to succumb to Jenova's will in order for the Jenova reunion to happen. In order to do that, he needs to shatter his mind completely so that he can be a puppet. Cloud is already struggling with the Mako poisoning, his PTSD, and his dissociative identity disorder, so Sephiroth knows that it will take a deliberate push to break him. Cloud has cared deeply about Tifa since they were kids, and even joined Soldier in order to be noticed by her. If Sephiroth can get Cloud to kill her before he comes to, when he'd come back, seeing that Tifa died by his own hand would destroy him. Here in Gongaga, Sephiroth nearly succeeds in this plan. Since Tifa fell before the blade connected, Sephiroth tried to finish the job in the Lifestream where Cloud wouldn't see, so that Cloud would still feel like it's his fault that she died. Luckily, Tifa dove out of the way before the blade pierced the materia. When we consume media about people who know their fate and attempt to change it, we see that in this pursuit, they cause that fate to happen. I believe that this is happening to her because in his attempts to eliminate Tifa from the equation, he's actually making it easier for her to help Cloud later once his mind does shatter. In the OG, after Cloud gives the black materia to Sephiroth at the Northern Crater and is told that he's a puppet, he loses his mind completely. He falls into the Lifestream and goes missing from the party. Tifa desperately wants to find him, and when they arrive in Mideel, she hears tell of a man with spiky blonde hair being found washed up there a week before. Rushing to the clinic, she finds a catatonic and wheelchair-bound Cloud. Seeing him in that state, she decides to leave the party in order to stay with him, and has to live with the possibility that Cloud might be an empty shell for the rest of his life. Later, when the party returns to check on them, Mideel starts shaking. The rest of the party manages to escape in time. However, Tifa wheeling the sick Cloud is not so lucky. The ground completely gives way underneath them and they fall hurtling into the Lifestream. After wandering in the dark for some time, she finds the representation of Cloud's mind as well as multiple appearances of him scattered in different areas of Nibelheim and their shared memories. It is here that Tifa realizes that she needs to help guide him through his true memories to help him find his real self. I'll make a video breaking this down further, but for now I will address that 2 of the 3 memories in the Lifestream sequence we just saw Tifa go through in the Lifestream in Rebirth. Her promise with Cloud at the water tower and him following her up on Mount Nibel after the boys left when they were kids. So not only can Tifa really help guide him when this happens in part 3, since she has now been there, but she already knows 2 out of the 3 memories that she will have to help him regain. She already knows most of what had really happened in Nibelheim, so she is really set up for success here. The last thing I need to talk about before I move on is when she sees everything in white. She sees Zangan, who found her after the Nibelheim incident and took her to Dr. Sheeran. He's there too and was the one who had operated on her. These men saved her life, which she did tell Cloud in calm when he doubted her. Then she sees Aerith, who is really close to her in the Lifestream and is the last living Cetra. She sees Barrett next, who was a big part of her life in Midgar when she had to start her life over after the incident. Lastly, she sees Cloud leaving with Sephiroth, who she can't reach, which I believe to be one of her greatest fears. Sephiroth is also taunting her here. She takes the bait and tells him to not take Cloud too, because Sephiroth destroyed her village, killed her father, nearly killed her, and ruined her life. Going back to Gongaga, the party is back at Cisne's house, all restlessly loitering near the room where Tifa is resting unconscious. Inside the room, she's lying in the bed, and Cloud is sitting nearby on a chair, anxiously waiting for her to wake up. And here he's looking down. She starts making small, subtle movements indicating that she's about to wake up, which rouses Cloud from his vigil. When she opens her eyes and slowly looks at him, he stands up and declares that he'll get the others. Before he reaches the door, she softly calls his name, which makes him stop in his tracks. She begins talking about the story they were told as kids about how when someone dies, their spirit crosses Mount Nibel. He returns to her side as they talk about the incident on Mount Nibel. Here she opens up to him about how losing her mother affected her and how Emilio and the other boys joined her. Cloud confirms that they ran and left her there alone to climb the mountain. She admits that she didn't know that, which surprises Cloud. The fall from the mountain had caused her to hit her head, and she lost her memory of what actually happened. All she knew was the story that the boys told the other villagers, and at that time she didn't think to question them. He leans closer and asks her what they had said. Hesitantly, she confesses that they said that he egged her on. Noticing that this makes him seem slightly dejected, she leans closer and says that now she knows that what they had said wasn't the truth. When they all left, he stayed with her when she needed him the most. And if that's not a hero, then she doesn't know what is. He outrightly admits to her his complex that he doesn't think he's a hero because he couldn't prevent her fall at Mount Nibel, and he pushed her into the pool of Mako. Then we see him be the most honest and open he's been in arguably the whole compilation, in my opinion. He confesses to her that he doesn't know who he is sometimes, and he feels like there's different people inside of him, and he struggles differentiating these people from himself. Tifa encourages him to continue, both with words and open body language, leaning closer. He confides in her that he's worried that he's degrading like other soldiers and has fallen apart. Tifa adamantly assures him that she won't let that happen. She gets up, walks over to him, grabs his hand with both of hers, and declares that it's now her turn to save him. They lean in like they're about to kiss, only to be interrupted by Yuffie and Casey, who are eavesdropping. Tifa awkwardly laughs at them. Before she leaves the room, Aerith mouths something to her, which there was a debate about what she had said. I looked online about what the doves said in the Ultimania, and the answer I found was, "I'm so relieved." Feel free to correct me though if I'm wrong. After her exchange with Aerith, she turns to look at Cloud with a soft look and smile, then tilts her head up slightly. His face and eyes soften too, and his lips part before he grabs his sword and joins the others. This scene perfectly illustrates why Sephiroth believes that Tifa is a threat. Cloud clearly cares about her a lot, and trusts her enough to open up to her about what's going on in his fracturing mind. He doesn't even confide in Aerith about this stuff. Tifa knows how to help him here by patiently listening to him, encouraging him to continue, and then vows to save him this time. She clearly cares about him too. Her tone is soft when she says his name. Every time he starts to lose himself, she notices and helps him come back, usually through touch and sometimes through firmly telling him to stop. She also opens up to him, which makes him want to open up to her in return. She is patient, understanding, and kind. She brings out the best in him without being pushy or overbearing. Is she perfect? Absolutely not. But she is critical to the internal plot of the story, which is with the inner conflict in Cloud. When he joins the others, Tifa is on the couch telling others about the black and white whispers in the Lifestream. She confirms with them that the black whispers are with Sephiroth. When Aerith asks who is winning, Tifa pauses before saying the Lifestream and that they are. Barrett then goes off on another one of his speeches about the planet, while Cisne walks in and directs them to go to Cosmo Canyon. Besides the loveless play, this is my favorite part of the game. And that's not just because I ship Cloud and Tifa, but because I love seeing healthy communication and beautifully written stories in media, such as games. This part shows how good overcomes evil, especially in regards to saving those that we care about. I'm excited to see the Lifestream sequence in part 3 since it's my favorite part of the OG, and this was an amazing prequel to that. Please like, comment, and subscribe, as I am planning on releasing 5 videos detailing Tifa's story documented in Traces of Two Paths, as well as other videos about the Final Fantasy VII compilation. I also have a completed series of my first playthrough of the game, and I'm currently uploading my playthrough of the OG. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time with another video like this. Bye!